I'm Steve, CEO, CTO, and Chief Nerd, in fact, at Newicon. And I appreciate that it's quite bold walking into a room telling people to invent the future. But it is, in essence, why we set up the company. We've been going for 18 years. We've been helping clients do that. And I'm hoping in my talk, I'm going to talk for about 10, 12 minutes on what we see as the critical skills, and we're very passionate about teaching everyone in terms of across sector, empowering people with those skills they need to invent technology. And so we set up Newicon with 5 sort of core beliefs in essence. One is that we're in the fastest period of innovation in the history of human civilization. And both Tony Blair and William Hague agree on this point. And 2, that we have so much technical power at the moment, we almost don't have enough ideas. And it's when people and ideas and culture shift when the potential of that technology is unlocked. Go back. 3 is that software, sort of everyone's a software company. It's obviously very convenient for us because we've developed software, but everyone's a software company. And what we mean by that is software is like the operating system of civilization. And if you're in a company, we are competing on software. Implementing the latest SaaS tool is great, but really all the SaaS tool is doing is selling their expertise to all your competitors. So how are we innovating with software? So we're really passionate about empowering people to do that. 4 is that the skills actually to innovate and to develop the software and technology actually very simple, like deceptively simple. And we're really passionate about empowering people with those creative skills. And 5 is that to really help companies influence technology rather than be influenced by it, to avoid getting swallowed up by the large tech firms. So my talk was originally going to be called "What's the Price on Your Head?" Which I thought might have been a bit aggressive. But essentially, when I look out into a room or go into a company, I see a little ticking number going down on people's head, which is almost comes back to this technology point of everyone has a cost, and we have the technical capability right now to automate that person out of a role. I think there's 2 reasons this doesn't happen for everyone. Is that 1, it costs quite a bit, but that number's ticking down, right? And 2, like continuous learning in AI is still catching up. Like you've heard of context windows and things, but it's really continuous learning, which humans continuously learn. AI doesn't at the moment, but that's changing and things are adapting. So that's kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on. And so the skills I'm going to actually talk about are when we go into companies, and lots of it's about automation, which we really believe is more about liberating people from the mundane so they can focus on actually delivering value, those human skills. And so has anyone here heard of like lean engineering? Just me? Oh, a few people, yeah, in the room. So I love lean engineering because I'm a bit of a process nerd, but essentially it was a very simple perspective shift in the 80s that transformed Toyota into Japan into a superpower for in the automotive industry. It's basically looking at your process and defining it as, from my customer's perspective, is this value adding or is it waste? And any value adding task is any activity, raw information or raw materials that transforms, any action that transforms those raw materials into something customers willing to pay for. So drilling a hole in the car, picking up the drill is waste. The beautiful thing about this is you go into a company and you label whole departments and whole teams and whole job roles as waste. You're a waste. It's brilliant. Especially quality people love it and test it. But the point in this is that when we think about automating the process or trying to improve efficiency, for some reason, we always logically go to the value-adding part. But in most businesses, if you look at whole, are maybe like 20% value-adding at best because of all of the support services we need, like finance, HR, and all that stuff. And so in aircraft manufacturing, which is my background, some of the processes were only 2% value-adding. So if you invest in buying a super robot to drill holes faster, you can only really improve your process by 2%. And so that's kind of an interesting lens to look at a business at. What's value from our customer's perspective? The other great fun thing we do is like, okay, in a perfect world, how would this work? And it's a great question. And you say, right, let's forget security, let's forget legal issues, let's forget technology. What does this actually look like in a perfect world? What does the customer actually want? If they're buying a gym membership, really, if I could pay the money and get the six-pack, like I would do that, right? That's the ultimate. Do we have the technology to do that? Not yet, but maybe Maybe we will soon. And so that's another interesting lens to view the world through. And so a quick bit on data. I've got 2 points on this, but first we'll do a fun exercise. So she sees the man with the telescope. If we all think of, do we get a picture on our heads when we see the sentence? What do you see? Do you see a man, do you see a lady looking through the telescope to see the man? Or do you see a lady looking at a man carrying a telescope? Or maybe the man with the telescope is actually a band or a quirky cub, right? And so this is an example of like data. We don't really have the context of what this means. Another great example might be noughts and ones. So this is an example of data. And those noughts and ones, we have some information. That could be a color, right? It could be the color red. And that could be attached some knowledge that's attached to a temperature sensor, and it's getting hot, it's glowing red. We don't know if that's a good or bad thing yet. We just have that data. And so what actions do we need to take from this data? And this is like the point generally is like companies I feel are going around collecting huge data lakes and doing all this data stuff, but actually you do need to define what decisions you want to be better at. Because even when you have the data, I still find people suck at making decisions. We're terrible. If there's like more than 7 data points, we really suck at making decisions. Whereas statistically, this is what AI is great at, right? And machine learning. I don't really even call that AI, I call it fancy statistics. But essentially, what we want to get better at is better decisions in the future. So once we define those, we can put context on all this information that we're collecting in the past. Yeah. So there's 2 things from this. One is defining decisions. And 2, just tracing like information flow. When anyone's talking about tech, anyone can be incredibly effective. You don't have to be a software developer. You just need to know where information's moving from point to point. You might have heard people talk about JSON or XML and binary and all these different formats, but really, we almost don't need data formats anymore because computers can just send unstructured information now. So if you just trace, well, where's the information going from point to point? I find tech teams tend to get very blinkered in like, I'm going to do this bit and I'm going to convert this bit of information to this. But actually, when you look at the system holistically, again, from the value perspective and see how are we transforming the information through our organization, where does it need to go and where does it need to go? That's kind of the most valuable bit. So 2 very simple skills, draw it on a whiteboard, what decisions we want to get better at and what's the information flow. Cool, so just a really quick cap on what we've done. So we get involved in all kinds of projects. We go into businesses and do lots of R&D things. We've also done smart thermostats for social housing. We've done predictive maintenance for aircraft. This is tire and pressure sensors, which you download the data onto your phone, it uploads it to the cloud, and then we can do predictive maintenance to say when an aircraft needs to be serviced so they can be turned around faster. We're even doing a project at the moment where people have figured out they can use chatbots. I'm talking fast, I'm running out of time. We've got AI chatbots that can fight other AI chatbots because people can use a chatbot to effectively fill in a survey and get paid. And so now we need to say, are you a human or are you AI? So that's kind of fun. So our process, we come in and we do this very simple design process. It can last a day, it can last a week, but really it's like completely risk-free because it's on the side. It won't get eaten up by your cultural immune system. It's like, we're going to play with this crazy idea. And we effectively go through this process and ask those very simple questions and map them out for people and also teach people how to do those super simple skills. AI in the future, so coming back to that clock above our head or the number, if you like. I think the hardest job to replace right now is actually a carpenter, right? My dad's a carpenter. I think maybe if you're sat in front of a computer, that's because AI is not great yet at spatial awareness. We need a full humanoid and robotics for that to happen. If you are transferring information, then I think that information sat behind a computer, basically, I think those things are low-hanging fruit to be automated. That doesn't mean that the role will be replaced. I mean, everyone's heard an AI won't replace your job. A human using AI will replace your job. But however, now we have AIs using AIs. And function calling is actually a really interesting aspect of LLMs, where you can get an AI to call other AI agents to do tasks. And that's kind of interesting. So I hope that's a whistle-stop tour. I hope I've delivered some value or some perspectives that maybe you can take back into your organization. One thing is we're heading towards a future where we can just press print. The moment Newicon come in, we add the tech glue and some of the design poking so that people can just press print on their dreams, right? But I'd argue if we have a button in the future where we can just hit print on our dreams, we all need better dreams. Okay, so I'm Steve. I hope you enjoyed my talk. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. I talk about brains, AI, and software and business stuff. And if you like what we talk about or I talk about, feel free to work with us. We've got, I think, 9 innovation workshops we've got to sell this year. We've got slots for this year, and we've also done like an AI scorecard that goes through our innovation process. It's kind of new, and we're sort of testing that out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much.